Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of SEOs Getting Coffee. Thank you very much for joining us, and I hope everybody has their coffees ready. Today, we have another wonderful guest that's joining us today to talk about imposter syndrome in SEO, and I'm delighted to introduce Franzi. Franzi, please introduce yourself to everybody.
Yes. Well, hello, I'm Franzi. I'm based near Munich in Germany. And I've been doing SEO since 2011, so quite a long time. So it started as a student, and then I just stick to it. So, and recently got self-employed. A week now.
Nice.
So
Oh, wow.
1.5 weeks. So yeah.
Congratulations.
Well done. Yeah, congrats. That's brilliant. Really good.
Besides
Really
Imposter. So
good. Yeah. Well, we'll talk about it today, won't we?
yeah,
Like,
exactly.
I bet it's great that you pushed through it. So, it's good.
Oh yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, I think that's the most important. And I love books and cats.
Yeah, we have that in common. And I know that you're a big fan of like Lord of the Rings and fantasy and stuff.
I am.
Same here.
Maybe we'll merge this into a Lord of the Rings SEO podcast
Yeah.
somehow. I'm sure there's some kind of crossover there that
Yeah.
we can,
there definitely
Probably.
is.
we can pull out.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't do that today, though. Today we're going to be talking about imposter syndrome.
Well, I'm thinking maybe we could segue that way. Maybe. I'd happily we'll have a chat about Lord of the Rings today.
Well, I'm sure it will come up. It will come up.
Maybe we can use an example or something.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, there you go. You got like a brief now, Francie. You're gonna have to like whip out an example.
It's a challenge during the
challenge.
The
Yeah.
Emina, do you have a question to kick off with?
Yeah, I do. I have a question, like a basic one. So we like to start with like defining what we're talking about a little bit more. So, Francie, tell me, how do you understand like imposter syndrome? What is it?
Yeah, so it's kind of when you doubt your abilities and have kind of a fear of being exposed, that you don't know what you're doing and talking about. Even you have a lot of, besides you have a lot of evidence that you accomplished a lot of stuff and have skills and competence, and then you feel like, you are not professional enough or experienced enough. So for me, it's a lot of self-doubt and analysis and decision paralysis coming in a lot of the times. And not trusting yourself that you can do the stuff. So
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, and I think that's a very good like point. There's a lot of like self-doubt, isn't it? But why do you think? I mean, we talk about it in every industry, because it's like one of those human conditions that a lot of people have. But in SEO, to me, it just sounds like it's particularly prevalent.
yes.
I mean, I work in SEO, so maybe that's why I notice it in that industry more. But why do you think that is? Why is SEO so kind of susceptible to imposter syndrome?
I think for me it is kind of this. There is no clear, education. So anyone can do it basically, but then also not. And so it's really complicated. So I just started as a student, and no one probably educated me. Back then, it wasn't even a thing in universities. So I think that was a big issue. And then also, there's this, well, it depends, right? So it is true. So you never know what works for one client doesn't work for the other client. And there's a lot of, insecurity around this, I guess. And then, at least for me, it was at the beginning here in Germany, especially, there were a lot of middle-aged men out
Oh
there,
yeah.
white men out there, always the same persons at conferences, publishing stuff, and the one you should look up to. And yeah, so kind of like underrepresentation of diversity was also a really big thing for me. And it's just such a complex topic. So I feel like you go on vacation for 3 weeks, you come back, and SEO suddenly all new and a
Yeah,
lot
it
of
moves
updates,
fast.
and so it's hard to catch up and stay on track, and that can also really cause some self-doubt issues. And yeah, I guess those are the key reasons for me, at least.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's like it's so fast paced that you kind of always have this feeling that you're behind.
Oh
And
yeah.
that's not like obviously that's gonna make you doubt and it's yeah, no, I know what you mean. So you're now doing freelance. So obviously you have done very well at, fighting the evil little imposter syndrome.
Sometimes I
How,
try.
yeah, how did you do it? What are some of the kind of like tell us a little bit from your personal perspective, your personal story. What made you say, okay, right, this is the time to go freelance, and this is what I've done to feel more confident in the decision?
But what made me say this is the time, honestly, was getting laid off.
Oh,
So
yeah,
I kind
tough.
of had no other, I had other options, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
the timing. But what got me into really trying it and finally not be afraid of it was uh, women in tech, SEO. So
Woo-hoo! Sean doesn't
so
know what
many.
what we're talking about. It's
Of course I do.
exclusive.
Of course I do. I know it's a really supportive environment for everybody, and I think that's the main thing.
Yes.
But I think I guess it's those types of those kind of circumstances do kind of push you in that direction, don't they? To kind of like you need those kind of big events to kind of make you
Yeah.
almost make that step, or kind of it's just you kind of have to make that step in a way because it's like well you're forced by something happening that okay well, I'm in this position now, so I kind of like forced into well I'm in the best position possible to, and it kind of pushes you and encourages you into that scenario where you have the opportunity to say go freelance or start your own consultancy or whatever it might be, and I think it's kind of taking those signs and then going with it and being in that opportunity. So I think it's like grabbing that opportunity. I think is like and if it comes along, is like kind of taking it and seeing where it goes. I think obviously it's terrible to be laid off, and it's terrible people that go through that. It's a terrible thing to happen. However, there's always an opportunity to be kind of taken from those scenarios, even if it takes a long time for you to kind of realize that there might be an opportunity or there was an opportunity, because it's like moving of different chapters, I guess, in everyone's career, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so for me, it was also, I always considered I might go freelance at some point. Even everyone who knows me is like, why don't you go freelance? You hate it, having a white, middle-aged white man toxic environment above you. So because that always is kind of where I land. I don't know. And yeah, but I was too afraid. So I didn't think I can do it. I didn't even was brave enough to apply somewhere else because I wasn't happy anymore. So it kind of was the best that could have happened. So, and then, yeah, all the awesome women were like, yeah, let's just try it. What can happen? You can
Yeah, I
always
think,
go back.
but I think that's the one thing as well is that like, it's kind of, I think it's, obviously coming from like, getting that imposter syndrome type of thing is that I think it's maybe people being scared of failure and
Yeah.
like, making mistakes and stuff. And like, I mean, like personally, of course, everyone doesn't like to make mistakes and everybody doesn't like to kind of fail at something. But you do have to do that to learn, and you also have to go through those processes to to also test out whether to see if you like something. And over the course of like, I think these days, I think people, we're potentially in such a short term mindset of like kind of more kind of instant gratification of like, the way that we operate on social media and things like that. Whereas actually long term, you'd be happy that you made those mistakes along the way because it built you into the person that you became, right? So I think it's quite an interesting thing. I think is that like even if it doesn't work out and even if it's not successful, you'll be more happy in the future that you tried it, rather than never trying it, and even if it wasn't successful, or maybe somebody goes from freelance to being in-house to being freelance again to whatever it might be, that's your own path. And it's kind of being proud of that in a way. And I wouldn't, that's the thing, is like not seeing it as a failure is where I'd kind of, kind of approach it, I guess.
Yeah, and that does help, talking about like strategies for imposter syndrome. It's like this reframing that I think helps. And you were saying communities help as well. For you, it was the Women in Technical SEO. What else? What other strategies do we have to kind of fight this imposter syndrome? I completely relate. Like I get it as well. And I've been in the industry for so long now, and I still have these feelings of absolute fear, thinking, "Oh my God, is that correct? Should I be saying that?" What else have you been doing to kind of overcome it?
But for me, it also helped that I had to sit down and write a resume, because first I wanted to apply, and I was like, oh my God, you did a lot, you achieved a lot. That's quite cool. So that really helped gaining a bit of confidence again. And then also for me, I had to create a business plan. And then also you write all the stuff down and you plan how you're doing it. And I was like, oh my God, a lot of stuff. So last year I never thought I am able to do a business plan, and now I did it. So that really helped. And then also what helps, especially for SEO and the fear of missing out, is just apply to newsletters. So just get SEO FOMO, Women in Tech SEO and stuff like that. And then, you can't miss important stuff. So that's quite cool. That helped a lot with the fear of missing too much. And what also helped me was realizing that it often was the environment itself, not myself. So it's just like, maybe it's a toxic environment or not diverse enough or stuff like that. So of course you get imposter when you don't see yourself represented. So that helped a lot also. And then just, accept that you feel that way and that it's normal, and that honestly, almost everyone experiences it at some point. And just also say, okay, well, that is what it is, but I just try it out now. What can happen? So I had my list with what's the worst thing that could happen if I fail. And it always came back to, well, basically nothing, besides maybe I just go back to in-house. And so that also helps. And then also find a mentor, maybe. So I guess for me, it would have been really helpful to have someone helping me get into all this SEO business, and so helping me grow and learn where to get the knowledge from. Because it's so many voices out there, so you get overwhelmed, definitely, especially when you start out. And just ask for help if you need. It's okay if you don't know something. So I constantly remind myself of that. And also thinking about, there are a lot of loud voices out there, yes, but it's okay if you are not one of those loud voices. You don't have to be brilliant in what you do, and stick to what you are good at. So I realized, okay, hey, technical, no, I could if I wanted to, but I don't want to. So I am sticking with all things content, and I'm good at it. So I don't have the fear of being a fraud there that much. So yeah, and what is really important, get yourself a notebook or I don't know, a Notion template or a lucky jar where you put everything that is good, what all your wins and little wins and good feedback you get, put everything in there. And then when the imposter comes, I'm just opening it and like, oh my God, look at that client. He was so happy. You really know your stuff. And yeah, so that
Yeah, we have
also
a
is a good
client.
thing.
We it's interesting because we have a client, one of our SEO clients. I'm not going to say who it is. However, they are so the director that comes to the kind of the meetings and stuff. She is absolutely lovely, amazing, and she's very forthcoming with her feedback. Like whether it's something, everybody makes mistakes and stuff, and sometimes you've tested something, it didn't work, she'll always give you kind of the feedback, but she's also very forthcoming with positive feedback.
That's good.
So like every time we get on a phone call with her, she gives us something positive. And I said to her one day, like, my God, if everybody has bad days when they're doubting themselves and doubting what they're doing and all of that stuff. I said, I'll just call you. I'll just give you a call and you can tell me, your feedback as well, so I can feel a little bit better. And it's important. As you say, it's the environment quite a lot of the time. It's kind of important to have, to know who your cheerleaders are, and to be your own cheerleader,
Yes.
really. Yes, yes, queen. Yes, Arij, she's brilliant. She's a cheerleader for all of us, I think.
But I guess
Excellent,
that's
Franzi.
that's the thing is that I guess we kind of forget how much we focus on the negatives and we focus on and I think I guess it's one of the things that's obviously human, but in terms of how I relate it is that sometimes I'll play like football, right, and I'm not very good, but I'll really kind of hold myself up to okay, I'm going to pretend as if I'm like 25 again, right, and I can run more than 10 meters, but when you finish a session or finish playing football, you'll just remember all the things you did wrong and the things that you did bad and the things that you're like, oh, I wish I didn't do that, or that pass was terrible, or that shot just went no, and you'll just be like. So I found that what was happening is I was just kind of enjoying it less and less. But then I was like, look, this is the reason, is because you're beating yourself up over the fact, look, you're in your mid-30s and you're trying to play football as if you were in your early 20s. Like, just enjoy yourself and just have fun. And don't focus on the negatives, just focus on the little positive things that you did. So yeah, for every you beat yourself up about these negative things, but actually what were the positive things that you did? Well, you did score one little goal, or you did make a great pass, or that header was really good, or whatever it might be, right? You just focus on those bits, and that it kind of yeah, I think Emina mentioned it earlier, is that reframing of what you choose to focus on can really have a huge impact on your processes and your day. And obviously using football as an example, but the same applies to obviously work and career and whatnot as well. Like the journaling and things that you said, Franzi, is that you can these types of practices can really help you to kind of be a lot more positive about the outlook of how to accomplish things, but also how you feel about your accomplishments going forward as well, and promoting that positivity, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. And just journaling itself, basically. Also, just write out your fears. That also helps a lot of the times already. So, yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good thing to do. Just write the stuff down.
So one of the things that you said was, unfortunately, in your career, sometimes you were in these situations where you kind of stuck to a job, even though it wasn't the best fit. And how would so talking about imposter syndrome, what is the role of managers and team in particular, if you're in-house at trying to empower you and kind of help you deal with your imposter syndrome. So if you had a perfect manager who was going to build your confidence and help you deal with your imposter syndrome, describe that manager. Tell us, what do they need to do?
Actually, so my direct manager did it quite good, the last one. So he was also not responsible for me getting laid off and stuff like that. So firstly, share good. Let them know when you do something good, not just come around the corner when you have a bad criticism, or when something went wrong. Point out when something went good to them. And that's a big thing, because a lot of the times everyone comes, what is happening with those rankings? And I'm like, just don't look at the rankings, for God's sake. And just point out when something good is happening, when they do something good. And then also what I think is important, because it's also quite related to your personality, accept that every team member has a different personality, and some are introverted, some are extroverted, and accept that you can't treat them the same. So for me, for example, when someone comes around the corner, do you have 5 minutes later, and then walks further on, I'm like, oh my God, no, I'm gonna get fired now. Just let them know, hey, it's something good we're gonna talk about, and the imposter just can't come up. And help the team to show your results and your work and your worth to the rest of the company also. So set up maybe a channel where you can share stuff like that, especially in a big company. It's otherwise hard to be seen as SEOs, especially. And just make a safe environment, accept that everyone is different, and treat them that way, and then don't force them to do stuff. So if you're more an introverted, social anxiety person, ADHD person like me, then accept that helping against the imposter is not pushing them to go do a talk. Maybe start a bit smaller, just in the team or stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because not everybody is the same, and kind of you need to try and personalize your support. Some people work really well with kind of just putting them into the deep end and saying, swim, swim. Other people don't. And it's very important, if you're going to nurture somebody as a manager, to understand that you're working with people who are very different, and how you treat their imposter syndrome is partly to do with what kind of personality they have and what they will respond to well. So it's a very good point, Franzi. Very good point. I like it. Sean, do you have any specific questions as well?
No, I was just going to say it's probably a good time actually to transfer onto room 404. And yes, every week we ask our guest to banish something to room 404. Basically something that has annoyed you, or something that continuously grinds your gears throughout. If it's digital marketing related, then all the better. But it goes into room 404, never to see the light of day again. But we do have the option there that, if something in the future comes back around, that we can always, 301 redirect.
That's why it's not 410. That's why it's not a 410. It's not gone forever. Might improve.
It's just so geeky, isn't it, really, when we actually think about it. If you would please be so kind, Franzi, to give us your room 404 edition.
But putting to geeky, I had once SEO reason, and I just wear a t-shirt 4 journal not found. So I like it, kind of geek. But for me, it should be a 410 this week, definitely, because I had to do a lot of competitor analysis for myself, of course. And I stumbled over so many, ooh, we get your 2-page run in a week, nonsense. And so I want a 404 or 410. All those bad consultants and agencies that really sell shit. So like,
yeah.
you are gonna be number one just in a couple of days, and they create so many unrealistic expectations, and they are also the reason why so many think, "Ooh, SEO,
Yeah, it's a bad
it's so
rep.
frustrating. Oh, so frustrating. But also have kind of to know what I really don't want to sell.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we had I was at a podcast with Candor recently about agency red flags as well, and oh god, you gotta listen to it. It's very ranty. I was ranting a lot.
That's good.
Yeah,
That's not like you,
because
Emina.
oh, very unlike me. No,
I
because it's
worked
just
in a red flag agency once, so
oh god. Well, you gotta come back and tell us that story, Francie,
I
in another episode. Yeah. Oh god, we all have those horror stories, but yeah, let's put that into the room 404 and
Confessions of an
hopefully,
in-house SEO.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and hopefully we can end on a good note, and people got some tips on their imposter syndrome and know that they're not alone in it.
oh yeah.
Yeah, I think that's important.
Absolutely. Well, everybody, I'm sure, like, we've talked obviously about community as well. So, I think it would be great that if everybody could, connect with Franzi after as well. So Franzi, if you could share some of your social media where people can reach you.
So mostly on LinkedIn and on Instagram. I do have a Twitter, but I just am a quiet reader. So, and then yeah, now I also have a website, so also via a website and email. So
Brilliant. Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll put some
thank you
links
so
in.
much. Thank you so
thank
much for
you
joining
too.
us. Emina, do you have anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you so much, Francie, for coming. I mean, I love talking to you on women on technical SEO. So it's really nice to kind of put a face to a Slack message.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Sentence. Thanks so much for joining us, and thank you everyone. We'll be back next time for another SEOs Getting Coffee. Thank you very much. Please like and subscribe. Obviously, connect with us online, and keep the conversation going. It's been great. See you later.
Bye.